الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. And this is inshallah the first of the series of a discussion by the noble Shaykh Muhaddith Allama Abu Abdurrahman Muhammad Nasirud-Deen al-Albani Rahimahullah, with a Tableeghi from Jamaat at-Tableegh, who came to his house and he wants to discuss with the Shaykh with regards the Jama'ah, whether it is upon the correct path or not. And so what you'll notice in the beginning of this lecture is that Shaykh al-Albaani lets the man speak. Let him say what he has to say. Then afterwards the Shaykh starts discussing with him with regards to the Jama'ah and some of the errors that they have and so on and so forth in a nice manner. He discusses with them and he begins first of all this discussion by saying,
أولا الخروج في سبيل الله من خلال تجربتي أنا. الخروج في سبيل الله هو يكون بحسب حال الإنسان. إن كان هذا الإنسان عالما فهو يخرج يعلم، وإن كان غير عالم فيخرج يتعلم.
So the man, he said, this man whose name is Aql, his name is intellect. Now, he says that going out for the path of Allah, khuruj fi sabilillah, he says there are two types of people who can go out for the sake of Allah. The one who is alim and the one who is muta'allim. So the scholar can go out as well as the student of knowledge can go out. Can go out fi sabilillah. And what do they mean by go out? Meaning for 4 months in a lifetime, 40 days in a year, or 3 days in a month. This is what they call to.
والتعلم في الخروج في سبيل الله ليس تعلم علم المسائل وعلم الحديث والفقه.
So he said when somebody goes out with Jamaat Tableegh, he doesn't actually go out to learn masail and fiqh, affairs of one's deen and the science of how to worship, the fiqh affairs.
ولكن تعلم علم الفضائل حتى ينشرح القلب والصدر.
But rather he says, this person called Aql, he says, but rather the person who goes out with Jamaat Tableegh, he goes and inshallah he will learn the affairs of etiquettes, fada'il al-a'mal, which are like, for example, extra voluntary acts that a person can perform, like have sabr, patience, and so on. So the fada'il al-a'mal. And we know that this is something which is opposing what the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all the Anbiya used to call to. The first thing that the Anbiya used to call to is what? وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. First and foremost, all the prophets and messengers, they used to call to Tawheed, not Fada'il A'mal first. The first thing they call to is Usul, not the Fada'il A'mal. Fada'il A'mal is a good thing, call the people to good manners is good. But before that, and most important thing for you in your life is At-Tawheed, is to worship Allah alone, keeping away from shirk and all of its manifestations and all of its types, whether it's major or minor. This is the da'wah of the Anbiya. So the first opposition that this person is saying here, and Shaykh Albani will clarify it. And just as a further clarification, then no doubt that opposes the methodology of the Anbiya wal Rusul, of the prophets and messengers.
فيكون عند الإنسان الرغبة والإقبال على طاعة الله عز وجل. So
this man is saying, this Tableeghi is saying that when this person goes out and he learns the Fada'il A'mal, the voluntary acts, the good manners, etiquette, then he will, most likely he will accept doing acts of worship. This is what he says.
والمحافظة على أوامر الله والمحافظة.
And likewise he will protect the commandments of Allah, keep away from the forbiddance.
على سنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And he will follow the sunnah of the messenger.
ويكون خروج في سبيل الله حتى تأتي الصفات الإيمانية.
So he says one goes out fi sabilillah and such that he has the attributes of Iman. Attributes of Iman. Pay attention to some of the wording, because unfortunately the Jamaat al-Tableegh, they go around and they call to this. And some of them are very sincere. They are sincere, but unfortunately, Shaykh Al-Albaani says, sincerity is not enough for you to be on the right path. You have to be upon knowledge. You have to be upon knowledge of the affairs of the usul, the affairs of Tawheed, saving yourselves from the hellfire, whose fuel is men and stone.
التي لا يمكن أن تأتي الإنسان من خلال القراءة.
So the person is saying, and this is what they do, they belittle ilm, knowledge. He says, well, what we do is teach the people etiquette. Person cannot really gain much like from reading as he would gain from learning some of these good manners and so on.
حتى تأتي هذه الصفات في الإنسان. مثلا صفات الصبر.
نعم.
فالخروج في سبيل الله يخرج فيه العالم والجاهل. العالم يعلم والجاهل والأمي وطالب العلم يتعلم.
So this Tablighi is saying that the two types of people go out. The alim, the knowledgeable scholar, and he teaches. And likewise, the ignorant one goes out to learn. In his outlook of what they do. And in reality, that's not the case. Shaykh Al-Albaani, he mentions in other tapes that what you don't have, you can't give. So, if the alim is going out, who is it? And what ilm are they teaching? If it's the alim is going out, then he is the one who should teach the people how to pray. Shaykh Muhammad Abdul-Wahhab al-Banna, hafidhahullah, he went out to teach them. Alim, going out to go to them to teach them. When they came to his area, he went out to them, and this was in Egypt many years ago. He went out to them, and he said to them, he was telling them how to pray, the hadith of the man who prayed badly. And one of the leaders said to him, no, we don't have this. Just tell the people to pray. As for how to pray, we don't have this in our Jama'ah. We don't have this. And this is the reality. Anything good that they have from the sunnah of how to pray, it's not from the actual Jama'ah and from the books that they're teaching. Because they don't teach the people how to pray. They don't teach the people how to believe in Allah correctly, and how to believe in the angels correctly, and how to believe in the messengers correctly, and how to believe in predestination, the qadr correctly, and how to believe in the last day correctly. Rather, all of it is to encourage them to get with iman, but in a general sense. In a general sense, we should worship Allah. Then how do we worship Allah? And Shaykh Al-Albaani, he mentions in another discussion similar to this, he mentions there was a Kurdish man. A Kurdish man, that the Syrians, they used to make the joke. They said there was a Kurdish man who went out and he saw a non-Muslim. And he said to him, become a Muslim or I will kill you. This obviously is not allowed to do that. He said, become Muslim or I'll kill you. He said to him, okay, but how do I become Muslim? He says, I don't know. He said, I don't know. So this is the reality. What you don't have, you can't give. فاقد شيء لا يعطيه. فاقد شيء لا يعطيه. So going out, what are you going to learn?
والعلم يكون علم الفضائل حتى ينشرح القلب والصدر.
So this is from the doubts that they bring. They say the knowledge that we are going to teach is the ilm al-fada'il, the knowledge of the voluntary etiquette, acts, manners, such that the person's heart is cleansed, he says. And this is a doubt that they bring. Because what is going to clean your heart if it's not aqeedah? What is going to clean your heart first and foremost? Aqeedah. The Khawarij, they had worship, they had prayer, they had fast. But what happened to them? Because of aqeedah, they ended up being the dogs of the hellfire. Because of their false understanding. Because of their fiqh, adam al-fiqh. They said that Muslims who commit major sins, they are kuffar. Because of that, they ended up being the dogs of the hellfire. The Qadariyah, those who deny the Qadar, they deny that Allah knows an act before it happens. They deny that you will say, do such and such thing today, until you do it, then Allah will know afterwards. So they deny the knowledge of Allah that precedes the action. So what did Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu say to them? First hadith in Sahih Muslim. When the two tabi'in came to him from Iraq, he said, tell those Qadariyah, because of this false belief, I have nothing to do with them and they have nothing to do with me. And if they were to give charity the size of Uhud in gold, that will not aid them until they believe in Al-Qadr. Until they believe in Al-Qadr. And unfortunately in the Jamaat Tabligh, because they don't rectify the people's Tawheed, and so therefore you find some people, they may have actions or beliefs which are false. If you ask them, where is Allah? They will say everywhere. And this is false. We don't say Allah is in creation. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah min dhalik. If you say to them, with regards Allah's beautiful names and attributes, they won't know because they haven't learned that. And if you say to them about grave worshipping and calling upon the dead, and maybe they don't know as well because they haven't learned that. And if they did learn it, it won't be from the Jama'ah itself. It will be from outside the Jama'ah. So what is this Jama'ah that they are calling to then?
لتطبيق ما يسمع. لأن
So he says what we call to is that you apply that which you hear.
ليس المهم أن يجمع الإنسان معلومات ولا يطبقها.
So he said it's not important that the one just gathers information, this Tablighi is saying, and he doesn't apply that knowledge. And it sounds good, it's true. We don't just have knowledge for the sake of knowledge. Knowledge, inshallah, for the sake of action.
فتكون حجة عليه يوم القيامة.
And so he says that knowledge will be a proof against that person on the day of judgment if he doesn't act on it. And that is true, it's a true statement. But does that mean we don't learn? Does that mean we stop learning and just teach each other good manners only? Good manners is from the deen. And inshallah it's from the heaviest thing on the scales on Yawm al-Qiyamah. But what is heavier than that is your aqeedah. So if they only stuck to teaching aqeedah first and foremost, as Shaykh bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah says, if the Jama'at Tabligh were to stick to the hadith of Jibreel, it would be better for them. Why? What's hadith Jibreel? 6 pillars of Iman, 5 pillars of faith, and ihsan. If they stuck to that hadith, they won't have to make up 6 principles of their own. Sifatu sit, which they have.
وحتى يأتي فيه عظمة السنة وتقديرها وتعظيمها. يعني أنا رأيت واحد في باكستان كان بيتوضأ، هو رجل عمره حوالي 70-80 سنة، وقالوا هذا من رعاة الأغنام، ولكن لما كان بيتوضأ صار يبحث في جيابه وبشكل مذهول، كانت إقامة الصلاة قريبة، فكان يبحث كأنه فاقد شيء، فقالوا له عايز تبحث؟ ضيعت فلوس؟ ضيعت أوراق شيء؟ قال لا، المسواك. أين المسواك؟ يبحث عن مسواك.
So basically he's saying that this Tablighi is saying, look at he says that the person who goes with Tabligh, he will end up glorifying the Sunnah or honoring the Sunnah, if you like. Honoring the Sunnah. To the extent he said there was a man in Pakistan that he met or he heard of, that when he was doing his wudu, he was looking for his miswak, and the prayer was about to start and he's still looking for his miswak. He said, look how this man has so much concern for following the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is again another smoke screen. It is good, mashallah, he's looking for his miswak, is good. But if he's looking for his miswak and he's upon the incorrect belief, what good is that? If he's looking for his miswak and he's, mashallah, tabarakallah, wanting to do tatbiq of an act which is mustahab, which is pleasing to Allah, what is more pleasing to Allah first and foremost? And that is your aqeedah, is your belief. First and foremost, how you believe in Allah, and His angels, and His beautiful names and attributes, and so on and so forth. This is first and foremost, but they don't teach that. And if you go to the Jama'at Tabligh and you say to them, Ya Jama'ah, we are going to now teach Tawheed, Uluhiyya, Ibadah, that how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the different aspects of shirk, and all the different aspects of shirk in asma' sifat, shirk in ibadah, all of that we're going to go through it. They'll say, no, these things split the people. Wallahi ya ikhwan, this is what they said. And this is what they say. These things, they split the people. Subhanallah, the Quran is called Furqan, the criterion which splits between Tawheed and Shirk. And it splits between, and it divides and separates between Iman and Kufr. And it separates between Sunnah and Bid'ah. So you care about Miswak and you leave Aqidah and Tawheed because it splits the people and divides the people. Of course it divides the people from Haqq and Batil, from truth and falsehood. So this is all a smoke screen. We love the Sunnah, inshaAllah, and it's encouragement in each and every one of us to apply those things that Allah loves, like the siwak. فَإِنَّهُ مَرْضَاتٌ لِلرَّبِّ فَإِنَّهُ مَطْهَرَةٌ لِلْفَمِّ وَمَرْضَاتٌ لِلرَّبِّ. It is a purification of the mouth and also pleasing to your Lord. However, you do that and you oppose the teaching of the correct aqidah in your gatherings. In India, how long they've been in India and still so much shirk around. Why? Because these affairs are not being rectified. These affairs are not. And in the end, one will realize that Jamaat At-Tableegh, the heads of Jamaat At-Tableegh, the ones who headed it, from Zakaria, Ilyas and so on, they were all Sufis. Now you know why they don't concentrate on these affairs. If you see the Sufis of nowadays, whether they're modernist Sufis and so on, you see the same old traits. Forget about Aqidah, Tawheed. That's the main thing for them is etiquettes, dhikr of Allah. Yes, dhikr of Allah, not upon bid'ah. Dhikr of Allah upon the sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you find them doing acts of bid'ah. And they have this book called Jamaat Tabligh Nisab. In there, they have statements of shirk. No doubt about it. Where somebody is supposed to be so pious and he knows the unseen. Subhanallah. Only Allah knows the unseen. And even Rasulullah doesn't know the unseen, except what Allah has shown him. And Allah said that in the Quran. He said to Muhammad say to the people, قُلْ لَوْ كُنْتُ أَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبَ لَاسْتَكْثَرْتُ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ وَمَا مَسَّنِيَ السُّوءُ. If I were to know the unseen, then I would have done much more good. And evil would not have afflicted me. وَمَا مَسَّنِيَ السُّوءُ. Because he was given poison by the Jewish lady, and he didn't know it was poison in there. And when he's dying on his deathbed, he says, this is from the effects of that, what I have eaten, from that poison. So the Rasul doesn't know the unseen. If Rasulullah doesn't know the unseen, do you think anybody else knows the unseen? So in this Tabligh Nisab, and now they try to be a bit more clever, they say that, no, leave the Tabligh Nisab, now we bring some another book, Riyadh al-Salihin, for the Arabs. Because the Arabs are a bit more, in the Arabian Peninsula, they're taught Tawheed and these kind of things. Even though there's still shirk in some places, like in Oman, they sacrifice, some of the people, they sacrifice at the graves. In Morocco, they have magic, which is widespread, and other Arab countries as well, similar. But, and in Yemen, you have the Sufis of Yemen, Habib al-Jafri, who says that the awliya of Allah, they can create the janeen, a fetus inside the woman's womb. They can create, not Allah creates the awliya, the so-called peers and how could they do that? Clear shirk, Sufis. So the Jamaat At-Tableegh, they are Sufis. They are Sufis, whether they like it or not, because their founders were upon that. Their founders were Sufis from the different turuq, from different paths.
قالوا يا شيخ وصيغة مشاكل الصلاة مقبولة بدون مشاكل قال صحيح ولكن فضيلة السواك كيف أصلي بدون سواك فكان مهتم جدا أن يطبق السنة وذكر بعض الأحاديث عن فضل السواك خاصة مع الوضوء ومع الصلاة فهذا ما نجده في كثير من العلماء الذين يحفظون الكتب ومعهم الشهادات والدكتوراه.
So he's saying that, look, mashallah, this individual, look how he was concerned in following the sunnah of the siwak and so on. Even though the prayer is about to be established, he's still looking for that siwak. But he says, and many of the ulama and the students of knowledge, we don't even find them like that. We don't even find them like that. The ulama now, he's now criticizing the ulama. The ulama and the tullab, we don't find them like that, looking for their siwak or establishing these affairs of the sunnah. And this statement is very general. You would have to have met all the ulama for you to generalize like that, and all the tullab al-ilm for you to generalize like that. So generalizations is not the way of Ahlul Sunnah to generalize like that. A whole people and the ulama the ones that Allah has praised, and the ones that Allah has raised, and the ones that Allah mentioned that they testify to His oneness. Subhanallah.
تجد واحد قد تمر عليه أسابيع وشهور ما حمل السواك فيه.
And he said you find somebody, months pass by, weeks pass by, and he still doesn't have a siwak with him. And he still doesn't have a siwak with him. So look how they have made mustahab, they have made those affairs of istihbab, which is a good thing, but they have made those things of istihbab more important than the usul, than the fundamentals of this deen. And the fundamentals of this deen, don't talk about that. Our affairs, which are mustahabbat, these are the most important things. And that in itself is an innovation. Because the Anbiya were not like that. The Ahl al-Ilm were not like that. They used to bring, the most important thing upon the person is his aqeedah, his belief, and his tawheed. But they didn't understand this, and this is why they make zuhd, or they have zuhd. They abstain from learning the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in detail. Rather generalize.
كذلك الاهتمام مثلا في صلاة الجماعة، الاهتمام في الأمر المعروف والنهي عن المنكر. تجد كثير من العلماء يجلس في المجالس كلها منكرات.
He says, look, even enjoining good and forbidding the evil and sticking to the Salat al-Jama'ah, we find many of the scholars, they say they don't do that. They don't stick to the, and this is a lie, this is not true. Because we have seen the likes of, we have mentioned to you in many occasions, the examples of some of the ulama that we have seen with our own eyes. The likes of Shaykh Muhammad al-Banna in his 90s, he's 91 years old. Now he's 94. 91, he was doing Hajj every year from when he was young. Every year. Shaykh al-Albaani, he did it again, likewise, more than 30, 40 times doing Hajj. This is not a joke. The ulama, they are the ones who are the most pious. And they're the ones who are fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the most. And we saw, one time we were doing Umrah, and the Sa'i we saw Shaykh bin Baz Rahimahullah in a wheelchair doing Umrah. At what age? In his late 80s. So the ulama, they are first and foremost, we find them. Shaykh Ubaid al-Jabri Hafidullah, for example, we find him always. He used to call us to get us up for Fajr. Before Fajr. Sometimes in Tahajjud time, are you up? Get ready. Naam. Get us up in the morning. We put our alarm on always, alhamdulillah. But we find, even when the alarm, the battery goes, Shaykh Ubaid is still, he even defeats the clock. Even the clock is not good enough, mashallah, tabarakallah. Why? Because the Shaykh has hirs, and they have ilm, and they have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they concern themselves with the ibadah. So this is not true to generalize, the ulama, they are ones who do not stick to their obligatory duties like the salah and so on, like those in Jama'at at-Tableegh supposedly. Like those in Jama'at at-Tableegh supposedly. And we mentioned to you about the Khawarij. The Khawarij used to worship much. The Sahaba will see their prayer deficient to them, their fast deficient to them. But what good was that when they killed Ali radiallahu anhu? What good was that when they made khuruj against Ali radiallahu anhu and they killed Uthman radiallahu anhu? What good was that? It didn't bring them any good. It didn't bring them any good in that time for them to be saved from that fitna. So, this is not, this generalizing like this, the ulama are not like that, this is not true. Shaykh Muhammad al-Banna Hafidullah used to complete Quran in 3 days. And this was his affair right until he became ill, after being bedridden in his house now in Jeddah. And he used to always fast Mondays and Thursdays, and share that fast with the people in the haram. The people would queue up, and on the Thursdays and on the Mondays, they would queue up to drink from his strawberry milk tea, and to take from his torpedo. We used to call them torpedo dates because they were so big. I've never seen big dates like that, mashallah. The very big date. They used to queue up for that, and used to give the workers. They used to love him, subhanallah. And they miss his presence, obviously, because of he's not there now. But we used to miss his presence. Gate 94, that gate, which is the last gate in the haram in Mecca. You go all the way around, it starts at 1, King Abdul Aziz gate, the biggest one of the biggest ones. Go all the way around, it comes up to 94, then number 1 again afterwards. Gate 94, you go inside, he would sit on the left side in his wheelchair, always with his Quran. Before Salah time of Fajr, but in the Tahajjud time, he'll be there. Subhanallah. Show me anyone from any of the Jama'at like these great Imams in their ibadah. Show me. And if you find them, without the correct belief. without the correct belief. So أَتَسْتَبْدِلُ الَّذِي هُوَ أَدْنَى بِالَّذِي هُوَ خَيْرٌ. Do you choose to go to that which is less for that which is to go for that which is less than that which is better? Than that which is better? And the ulama, they are the ulama of Tawheed. شَهِدَ اللَّهُ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ وَأُولُو الْعِلْمِ. Allah praised them. And you are speaking ill of them like this. يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah raises them. And you are debasing them. This is the way of belittlement of Jamaat al-Tabligh to the ilm and the ulama.
ولا يحرك ساكن لا بأسلوب حسن ولا بغير حسن. فعظمة الدين وأهمية الدين.
And he says, look, and some of the ulama, they sit in gatherings of evil and they don't even speak. They don't even refute, negate what has been said. Again, look how he's speaking against the ulama. And this is the likes. This is enough for us to know what Jamaat al-Tabligh is upon. This is somebody who has adhered to their Jama'ah for years. And we know those who went with them and left them. And in the end they said, alhamdulillah, we left. Why? Because all we were doing is giving increase of numbers to this global organization, which is based upon ignorance and not based upon knowledge, which doesn't rectify the people's beliefs, doesn't tell the people the sunnah of how to pray and the sunnah of how to do hajj. Doesn't matter, just pray.
تأتي في القلب من خلال خروج في سبيل الله.
He said these affairs of rectifying your etiquette and that, you will find it with Jama'at al-Tabligh, with the khuruj, going out with them. And he said that way you will bring rectification to your family and that's not true. We find many, and we used to live in a community where there's a lot of the Tablighis, and subhanallah, you find a man's gone for 40 days and his family is left behind. His children are not taught. His maybe daughters going out without hijab. And wallahi, brothers used to come up to us and they say, look, subhanallah, this is happening. This is happening with details, and we would like to mention them. Leaving that which is the most important for them is to save themselves and their families. But what do they end up doing? Going to another country, another city, somewhere far away from their family, while their family busy watching MTV, whatever they call those music channels, and forget about your family with a satellite chat dish and go out, mashallah, giving da'wah or learning. What about Allah said, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِكُمْ نَارًا. First and foremost, save yourself and your family whose fuel is men and stone.
شخص في العمل في السوق في التعامل مع الأقارب مع الأصدقاء كل هذا وكذلك الصفات الإيمانية مثل الصبر.
He said also the person basically becomes better in how he interacts with others, and you see, notice he's mentioning the rights of the people amongst themselves, but higher than that is the rights of Allah. What did the hadith of Maajah bin Jabal radiallahu anhu? أتدري ما حق الله على العباد? Do you know the rights of Allah upon His slaves? حق الله على العباد, what are they? حق الله على العباد, he said, Allah ورسوله أعلم. قال حق الله أن يعبدوه ولا يشركوا به شيئا. The rights of Allah upon His slaves, you worship Him and don't associate partners with Him. وحق على العباد يعني وحق العباد على الله إن فعلوا ذلك أن لا يعذب من لا يشرك به شيئا. Allah will not punish those who do not commit shirk with Him in anything. And that is the rights of the ibad upon Allah if they do that. Yani if they are upon ibadah. And this is something not as a right, not that they are right upon Allah. La. This means that Allah will not punish that person. He will forgive him.
سامحة العفو استجابة الدعوة للإصلاح مثلا بين الناس.
So he's saying, this Tablighi is saying also you get the characteristics of gentleness and basically forgiving and overlooking if you come with Jama'at Tablighi. That overlooking is overboard. Not just overlooking. You overlook also shirk. You overlook also bid'ah. So what is this? What is the situation? Because it's in the book, Tablighi Nisab. And who wrote the book? Isn't it your founders? Isn't that your founders?
من الناس أعرفهم كان متكبر جدا يعني يكون الحق عليه مخطئ والحق عليه وبيجي صاحب الحق مستسمحه حتى يصلح بينه وبينه ولكن يفصل وبتعنت وبتكبر وبوصلها لأعلى المستويات. لكن لما خرج في سبيل الله صار هين لين عنده الصفات الإيمانية.
And he says, like, he used to know somebody who was so arrogant and proud, but when he went out for khuruj fi sabilillah, then he became so soft and gentle.
يعفو ولو كان الحق له.
He says he would be overlooking and forgiven even though he was in the right.
ويسامح بحقه.
And he will forgive his own rights.
رأيت واحد
Or give up his rights.
كان محتاج جدا من ناحية مادية، وإله على واحد 10 دنانير كان أقرض إياها من سنوات، وهذاك لما أخذها كان وعدوا بعد أيام أو في نهاية الشهر يردها. فهذا الرجل كان محتاج.
So now he's talking about another incident. He said, I know another person as well. There's many stories. I know another person, he says, where he used to be in need, and basically there was some money that he owed, and he's given a story about a situation, incident that happened. And let's just listen to the rest.
وتذكر إنه في له 10 دنانير عند هذاك الرجل، فقال بدي أروح أخذ فلوسي. بعدين تذكر.
So he was owed some money, 10 dinars, from another person. And that other person that owed him, when he's going towards him in order to ask him for his money, he remembered that, maybe he should not really, have, a bit difficult to ask him and this. Maybe he should just give him some more time. And he said later on that person realized, and he came and gave him money. He said, look, subhanallah, after he supplicated to Allah and said, oh Allah, make him realize that he owes me money. And the person gave him back his money. He says, look, subhanallah, the tawakkul that they have. If you go with the khuruj with Jamaat Tabligh.
حديث النبي عليه السلام قال تؤدون الحق الذي عليكم وتسألون تسألون الله الحق الذي لكم. فصلى ركعتين وطلب من الله أن يلهم ذلك الرجل أن يأتي له بالمال. So
subhanallah, he's saying, look, this man, he prayed 2 rak'ahs and he asked Allah for that man to realize that he owes me money and to give it back to me. And because of that, the man gave it back to him. Because he said, I forgot that I owed you money.
في نفس اليوم وبعد فترة قصيرة ما شافوا إلا رجل داخل عليه وسلم عليه وقال له يا أخي والله أنا تذكرتك إنك في يوم من الأيام أعطيتني 10 دنانير، أنا كنت نسيت أرد لك إياها، فالحمد لله الآن تذكرت وتفضل هذا 10 دنانير. بينما يمكن لو صارت مع أي إنسان ما تعلم هذا الحديث وما حاول يطبقه بروح برفع عليه قضية وبعمل عليه دعوة.
He says, look at that situation. Somebody's going with Jamaat Tabligh, look at his affair, and look at the other affair where you find another person who hasn't gone out with Jamaat Tabligh. You find he goes to courts and he goes to this and all of that just to bring about his rights. But meaning that if you go with Jamaat Tabligh, then that will be your affair. You rectify your affair. And notice all this time, it's now over 10 minutes, and Shaykh Al-Albaani rahimahullah is listening patiently.
وبعمل مشاكل. وهكذا كثير وجدنا ناس كانوا عندهم المنكرات والأشياء المحرمة في البيوت.
He said we found people that there was so much evil that they were upon. They used to have evil in their house and bad things in their house, but yet that was all rectified because they went with Jamaat Tabligh.
فلما خرجوا في سبيل الله على الرغم من قلة العلم لكن لما رجعوا إلى البيت بدأوا بحركة التغيير. Even though they didn't have much knowledge, again to show you they have zuhd, they abstain from knowledge and its people. And even if a alim were to teach them, Shaykh Muhammad bin Hanbal went to them to teach them, they will stop him in his path. أزالوا المنكرات وأصلحوا ما في البيت والزوجة صلحت والأولاد صلحوا صار بيت يقال عنه إسلامي تشم فيه.
He says, look, mashallah, the whole house became Islamic household because this man went out to Jamaat Tabligh and he rectified his whole house. And then he says, in opposition to some of those people who consider themselves طلاب العلم or students of knowledge, listen to what he says.
بينما كثير مع احترامي للعلم وأهل العلم.
He says, with my respect to knowledge and its people, you find, unfortunately,
طلاب مثلا خرجوا من كلية الشريعة.
طلاب, graduates from Kulliyat al-Sharia. يعني Kulliyat al-Sharia, they studied Sharia.
تدخل بيته أبدا كأنه بيت يهودي أو نصراني.
He says you go in his house, it's like the house of a Jew or Christian.
الصور والتماثيل و
Pictures and ornaments
من جميع الأشياء.
and other affairs.
حتى أعرف بعض الناس تخرجوا من كلية الشريعة زملاء إلي وهم لا يصلوا.
And I know some people, he says, even friends of mine, they go to Kulliyat Sharia, they graduated and they don't even pray. Look how he's generalizing, as if all the khair is in Jamaat Tabligh and that's it.
أعرف واحد تخرج من كلية الشريعة في الفترة اللي كنت أنا أدرس فيها المساحة.
He says, I used to study also Kulliyat Sharia in the evening. And I know somebody who used to study there and he graduated.
وما كان يصلي.
And he didn't used to pray.
واحد عين قاضيا.
And one was actually made a qadi, a
معه
judge.
ماجستير في الشريعة.
He got a master's from Sharia.
لا يصلي.
And he doesn't pray.
شو منه كثير.
Shaykh Al-Albaani said there are many like that.
وتجد كثير من طلاب العلم كذلك في كلية الشريعة.
He said there are also many youths. This Tablighi, he said there are many youths studying Kulliyat Sharia.
يتعامل بالربا يتعامل.
And they deal with riba, usury,
حرامات.
and the haram.
يستمع الأغاني
Listen to
والموسيقى.
music.
فالخروج في سبيل الله لجميع مستويات.
So going out, خروج في سبيل الله, يعني whichever level you are at.
الأمة الجاهل الذي لا
يفهم في
الدين شيء.
Doesn't have much.
وطالب العلم المتوسط.
And the طالب العلم,
العالم.
middle, and also the
كل واحد
عالم.
يأخذ على قدر
Everybody
حاله. إما
has
أن يكون عالم فيعلم
benefit.
ويفيد. والحمد لله خرجنا مع علماء في سبيل الله.
And also, alhamdulillah, he says we went out with the ulama fi sabilillah. There's another ulama, not the ones he was criticizing earlier.
منهم الدكتور نعمان أبو الليل.
Like for example, this individual he mentioned, I went out with him, he said, and we benefited much from
خرجنا
him.
مع ناس قدماء في الدعوة ما هم علماء ولكن يعني مارسوا الدعوة منذ أمد طويل.
And there are others that we went with, they have experience in the dawah.
صار عندهم صفات إيمانية عجيبة.
And they have some of these sifat al-imaniyah, these attributes in iman, which are amazing, he says.
يعني تحس فيهم الإخلاص والنور.
You actually feel the sincerity coming from them and the nur, the light coming from them.
والبركة.
And blessing.
هل تظن أن هذه الحسنات التي ذكرتها لا توجد إلا في الجماعة الذين يخرجون كما يقولون في سبيل الله؟
So he said, so Shaykh Al-Albaani said, this is his first question. Do you think that these attributes that you have mentioned as being good attributes, good manners, good etiquettes, prayer, all of that, do you think it is not present in other than the Jama'at At-Tabligh? It's not present in others who are not with Jama'at At-Tabligh? He said, he answered, the Tabligh, he said, no, it's found in many people. Shaykh Al-Albaani says, معلش, just hold on.
إذا كان هذا الشيء موجود
If it is found
في غير جماعة
in
التبليغ
other than Jama'at Tabligh,
كيف حصلوا ذلك بطريق الخروج؟
how did they get that? By going by khuruj? How did they get these attributes? They got these attributes with the khuruj?
نعم.
He said yes.
طريق الخروج هم حصلوا هذه الصفات.
يمكن ما
He says, Shaykh Al-Albaani said, after the man said yes, Shaykh Al-Albaani said, I think you didn't understand the question.
كان سؤالي بارك الله فيك.
My question to you, barakallahu feek, was, now repeat it.
ألا يوجد جماعة آخرون
Is there not another jama'ah
متخلقون بالأخلاق التي ذكرتها
who also have these akhlaq, these manners, these good etiquette that you have mentioned,
وربما بغيرها وبأحسن منها.
Or maybe they have other good characteristics, or even better than these characteristics, of a much higher level or better than this.
وليسوا من جماعة التبليغ.
And they are not from Jama'at At-Tableegh. Is it possible?
ولا هالخصال الحسنة محصورة في جماعة التبليغ؟
Or are these characteristics which are good only limited to Jama'at At-Tableegh?
موجودة في
The man said, yeah, it's present in others as well, other Jama'at. So Shaykh Al-Albani said, okay.
هذا كان سؤالي الأول.
That was my first question.
السؤال الثاني.
My second question to you.
هؤلاء الذين هم ليسوا من جماعة التبليغ.
These ones that you have said, and we have agreed, that they are not from Jama'at At-Tableegh,
حصلوا هذه الخصال
who have
الحسنة
these good characteristics,
بالطريقة نفسها التي يحصلها جماعة التبليغ.
did they actually gain these attributes with the same methodology as the methodology of Jama'at Tableegh, of going out, khuruj?
أم بطريقة أخرى.
Or did they get this with another type of methodology, a different methodology than the Jama'at Tableegh's methodology?
فإن قلت هي بطريقة جماعة التبليغ.
If you say that this is the same as Jama'at Tableegh path,
ما أظنك تقول هذا.
I don't think you're going to say that.
لأنك تعلم أنهم ليسوا من جماعة التبليغ ولا
Because you know that they are not from Jama'at Tableegh.
هم على منهج جماعة التبليغ.
Nor are they from the methodology of Jama'at Tableegh. But yet they have these good qualities and good characteristics.
كنت ستقول هذا ولا عندك رأي ثاني؟
Or do you have another opinion?
يعني سأقول حصلوا ما حصلوا.
Because I'm going to say they have gained these good attributes
بطريقة أخرى
by
غير
another way,
طريقة الخروج هذا.
other than the way of going out which you have. Going out khuruj.
نقول مع احترامي.
It says, I say, with my respect to you,
فلا أقطع حديثك. أن الأعمال التي يمارسها الإنسان وهو خارج في الدعوة قد يمارسها وهو غير خارج في الدعوة.
said yes, a person may not necessarily go out with Jama'at Tableegh, and he may have these, he may be aware and have these characteristics, good characteristics.
حسن هذا الذي
Shaykh Al-Albani said that's good, that's what,
يعني مثلا
that's what we
حلقات
were saying.
هذا الذي نريده. ما يحتاج الأمر إلى شيء.
Then the man, the Tablighi said, to try to clarify more. Shaykh Al-Albani said, no, we don't need clarification anymore. That's what you said is, that's
صرح لأنه أنا حطيت طريقتين.
because I put 2 points forward for you to answer.
طريقة الخروج.
The way of khuruj, which is one path, 2 areas which I want you to consider. One path, which is Jama'at Tableegh path, khuruj, which you are upon.
كما تقولون في سبيل الله لتحصيل
يعني of what you say في سبيل الله.
المحسنات هذه.
And that the person can gain these hasanat, as you say.
وطريقة غير الخروج.
And there is another path other than the way of khuruj.
كل من الطريقين
Both of these 2
عم
paths,
يحصلوا الخصال بدليل إيش؟
they have gathered these attributes, يعني
الواقع الوجود.
يعني for the dalil, the proof of the reality of what we can see.
نعم.
كويس. إذا
So therefore,
أنا أريد أن ألفت نظرك وأنت إن شاء الله اسم على مسمى عقل.
and he says, I want you to now consider, and you are inshallah a person who is upon what his name is, يعني عقل, his name is intellect. So he says, I hope that you are using it
حتفهم علي ما أقول.
such that you can understand what I'm saying.
إذا كان هناك شيء.
Because his name is عقل, which means intellect. So he's saying to him, I hope that you are upon what your name is, and that is upon a correct, sane intellect.
طريقة أخرى تمكن بها من تمكن من تحصيل تلك الصفات التي تسمونها بالصفات الإيمانية. فإذا ما ينبغي نحن أن نوهم الناس ولو بغير قصد أن الطريق لتكميل هذه الصفات الإيمانية هو الخروج المسمى بالخروج في سبيل الله.
So Shaykh al-Albaani Rahimahullah said to him that we should not try to give a false understanding to the people that the only way of getting these good characteristics is by going khuruj, by going out with Jamaat at-Tableegh, as you would say, fi sabilillah.
لأنه حينئذ نكون عم نفهم الناس أنه كما قال تعالى وأن هذا صراطي مستقيما فاتبعوه.
Otherwise we are saying that verse is for us only. وأن هذا صراطي مستقيما, and this is my path. فاتبعوه, so follow it.
ولا تتبعوا السبل فتفرق بكم عن سبيله.
And do not follow other misguided paths, for they will lead you away from his path. And the man, when he heard that, the Tablighi, he said, لا حاشا لله, we seek refuge from saying that.
أنا عارف هذا.
Shaykh al-Albani said, I know that.
لذلك عم أقول لك وإلا نضطر نقول هيك وأنت ما رح تسوي هيك. إذا ليه نحن حاطين دأبنا بالدعوة إلى الخروج في سبيل الله على ما ذكر وذكرت أيضا أن الناس بيخرجوا ما في عندهم علم لكنهم يتعلمون. هذه واحدة يا أستاذ عقل.
So he says, oh Ustad Aql, this is one, the first of the points that we have discussed, and clearly showing that the man, Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, defeated him in this argument. That's the first argument. Secondly, so then the Tablighi, now because he knows he's been defeated in that first argument, and that he says, can I give you an answer for that?
ما عندك جواب عليه.
Shaykh al-Albani says, you don't have an answer for that.
لأني أقول ما أنت موافق عليه.
Because I'm saying that which you and me agree upon, and that is eventually we both agree upon that there is another path other than the way of Tabligh where you can get these good characteristics. That's the first point.
شو بدك تجيب عليه؟
So what do you want to answer when there's no disagreement to answer about?
لا ما يحتاج الأمر إما أنك موافق أو مخالف.
Because either you agree or you disagree.
إذا موافق أنا بمشي في سبيلي.
So if you are in agreement, then I will continue upon my path, slowly establishing the proof against you.
هو سبيلك. وكنت مخالف بقول لك تفضل بين.
لا موافق.
هذا هو.
This is خلاص, I agree.
موافق. اسمح لي.
تفضل.
راح يرد علينا إشكالات كثيرة جدا على هذا العمل أولا وعلى هذه التسمية ثانيا.
So now we have some doubts that we wanted to clarify upon this action that you do, khuruj, and upon this tasmiyah, the name in itself you say is khuruj fi sabilillah. This is the second part of the discussion.
هو الخروج في سبيل الله.
And ikhwa, do you want to finish this off tomorrow? Have some rest. We have like 5 days, and it's only an hour. We've done 20 minutes already, mashallah. Should we pace it? Jazakumullah khairan. So tomorrow, inshallah, we continue. I'll leave it on there. It's 19 minutes, 10 seconds. Don't forget to pray 2 rakahs.